Association, the Deer Hunters Association. Mark has personally taken it on to get these people involved so that way we can fight for our rights and our heritage. So he's going to give you a spot-on presentation of the proposed rule changes. They are proposed at this point. I encourage everybody in this room to show up in Clewiston in November. It is on the agenda to talk to. This will be the preliminary vote in November. We need voices, we need people to show up. We'd love to see you all there. Mark, take it away.
This is above me. Computers, I drove a bulldozer the last 20 years, running over stuff, so I don't do computers. Real quick, I think I got my introduction down to 30 seconds, and I'll try to do them in order. Christian, married for 40 plus years to the same woman that I get in trouble with all the time. 2 daughters, grandson, retired Navy, and retired forestry. And then I've been trapping all my life and been in with this group for, I don't know, 15 years, 10, 12, I don't know. I learned everything I know about trapping other than setting a rat trap from somebody in this room. Yep. I've gone forth, I've opened my own company. I love it. And then I bought a cage trap manufacturing company from the guy sitting in this room that started the company in 1979, Mr. Bill there, and trying to carry on that. Still getting fights with people, but hey, that's doing business, right? Let me close this. Oh, look at here. This trap don't work. Okay, I'll fix that. That's something else too. Anytime we get together as a group and you know I'm coming, if you've ever bought a trap from me and it ain't working, bring it back. I'll fix it or I'll replace it. Real quick today, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the trapping rules. I don't know the real reason why FWC decided this was a good time to change our rules. I've heard rumors. I can't make them true. I can't make them false. But for whatever reason, FWC says now's the time, early January 2021, they said we need to look at the rules. Are they still doing what we need them to do? Can we make them safer? Whatever their decision, that was over there in the FWC world. They're doing their thing. One thing I do want you to know that I have learned, I started my fight against FWC. They're taking my rules. They're changing my way of life. It's not FWC. They're doing their job to make things safer for us. Your enemy, and nothing against the women in this room, is the little anti-trapping lady, and they're usually anti-everything. Mm-hmm. They're thinking with their hearts and not with their minds. I'll give you a quick example, and then I'll get right into what we're doing here. We don't want you using live roosters in your bobcat trap anymore because they're afraid. Mm-hmm. I raised my hand. I'm sorry. They're what? They're stressed. I said the bobcat can't get to him. He's in a separate room, but he's stressed. He is. I said, who made you certified to decide if that chicken is stressed or not? Were you there when he got caught? You know, I ask these questions, and they're all coming at you, and they get louder. They get louder. They get louder. Oh, you know he's stressed. So anyway, that's who we're. If you want to say you're fighting, that's who I'm fighting. It's the people that's trying to take away my trapping rules. Are some of them making us safer? Yeah. Oh yeah. Are some of them making our rules easier for us? Yeah. The vast majority is thinking rock your world as a trapper. I'm going to tell you right now, and we're going to talk about it. Before I get going, we do have support. Congressman Stubbe in Sarasota called me on my phone. I don't know this guy from Adams. He's congressman. Hey, I hear they're taking your trapping rules. What's going on? So I gave him a lowdown. He wrote a letter, congressional letterhead and all that fancy stuff that those people do, and sent it to the FWC. Now, I don't know the reply. I didn't get a copy of the reply. But we got people like congressmen that like what we do, and they know that there's a reason for it. So, let me try this. Let me get this microphone turned on right quick. Let me go to Harry for help. Maybe you can just hear it.
Hold it down.
I'll miss it. No, I got it. They can hear it. They can hear it. All right. I got a brand new iPhone 16. All right. They better be able to hear it.
You just have to turn it on. Push the button.
You'll know. So, in my infamous wisdom, But I can't even turn my own phone.
Hold the on button.
No, they didn't. I'm gonna have to get whoever I showed this video to back me up. I called Doge. I called Elon, he's my buddy. And I said, Elon, okay, here it is, oh my God. Turn it all the way up. This is Elon Musk, shortly after our conversation. Come on, Mark. Come on.
I want to take a minute to say thank you to Mark Neely down there in Florida for his hard work in their fight to keep trapping alive. Keep up the great work.
Elon Musk supports it. Oh my God, now you're going wrong. Now this next man needs no introduction.
As you know, the Florida Trappers Association is in a fight to keep our trapping heritage alive. They're doing a great job, and I am proud of them.
Yes, Mark Neely has played around with AI a little bit. But you can bet your butt if I could get through to the man, President Trump, I'd bend his ears, and Elon Musk, I'd bend both of them. Okay. Like Kenny said, I've been in this stuff for a couple of years now, fighting it. I call it fighting. I'm just giving my opinion, and I'm hoping that my opinion backs up your opinion, and your opinion backs up my opinion. I'm gonna go over these with you right quick. I'm gonna tell you what they are. Last thing before I get started, I'm gonna get on my hands and knees and beg you. In November, the 5th and 6th, they take this issue before the commissioners. I'm gonna beg you to go. If you don't do anything but just go and support the people that's gonna be on the microphone, there's a good chance you're only gonna get a minute, because there's probably gonna be a ton of people. I was told, be ready to present your case in 1 minute, but also be ready in 3 minutes if they give you that time. I've got mine down to 58 seconds. I don't have time to look at them. I don't have time to worry if they hear me. I'm gonna be speed reading, because I got a lot of information to put out in 58 seconds. With that being said, I'm gonna ask, please come to Clewiston, Florida, November the 5th and 6th. Come to that meeting. I will help you get something to say if you have an idea. What Kenny and I would love to do is have a list of names. So, okay, Sarge wants to talk about foothold traps. You know, they want to talk about this and they want to talk about that. Well, what I don't want to see happen is 8 guys get up and say the same thing about the same thing. I got a feeling that's what our anti-people are going to do. They're going to just repeat themselves. And I don't want us to do that. I want the commissioners in here absolutely as much as they can. And I don't want to repeat. And I was told, you don't need to stand up there and tell the commissioners a story, just tell them the facts. Why is a 5 3/4 inch foothold too small? Tell them. Why do you want to keep the snare and not use a cable restraint? Tell them. Why do you want to do this and not this? Why do you not want to do this, but you want to do this? Tell them. They're not going to hear you. Now, these guys have probably heard what we got to say already, at least once, but they need me standing in front of them, eyeballing them, and telling them. But you can bet your left arm that the antis will be there. All right, real quick, here we go. Everybody that traps pretty much knows the trapping rules as they are right now, so I'm going to breeze through these and hope we left in a minute. It's never going to happen, but that's my hope. All right, here we go. Current trapping rules. If you look on the FWC website right now for current trapping rules, they're all over the place. You got to go over here, you got to go over here, you got to go over here. I'm trying to compile them the best I can. I've asked over and over and over in the tag group, and they're going to do this for us. Once all the new rules are written, they're probably going to have all of them together online in a PDF format somehow, and you can go and read them. But they'll all hopefully be together. The fur bearer trappers and the nuisance trappers probably be separated, but they'll be in one document. One of the guys at FWC said, I'll give you that file, and I'll feed it to every one of you that asked me for it. So hopefully we're gonna have a little everything together. Right now, for example, the first thing you look up is foothold and foot enclosed traps. Foothold grabs the foot, holds them in place. What they call a foot encapsulated is they stick the whole foot in there and it grabs them. That's basically a raccoon trap. These traps are basically, you gotta have a permit to have them. They're illegal as we said. You fill out a steel trap permit, you get permission to use those. That steel trap permit, if beaver is on that permit, you can also use the body grip conibear style traps. Other than that, there is no real restriction, other than that conibear has to be set completely submerged. Right now, it's gotta stay submerged. So if you put that trap underwater and it's that deep underwater and you think, I'm gonna break the dam so I can get the beaver to come fix the dam, and overnight it drops the water 2 inches, that trap's out of water, legally you could get a ticket. I don't think law enforcement's gonna walk up and say, oh, I got you now, and write you a ticket. I don't think those guys are out there. There's some that are young, that may not know all the rules and regulations, and don't get up in their face, there ain't no need. The man's got a gun and a badge and a ticket book. You don't need to do that. Ticket. And call somebody and say, sir, please, what do I do about this? I was in the right. You know, we'll worry about that later. And I'm trying to, okay. If I start crawling over the left field fence, I expect somebody to bring me back to home plate, okay? These 3 steel traps, there's no real restrictions after you get the steel trap permit, other than that conibear has to be set underwater. It's got to stay underwater too. That's those. I don't know if you know the difference between a snare and a cable restraint. This is a snare. Now this is just extra. This is something I put on there. It's got more swivels and it helps after you catch an animal. But there's basically a snare. It's a cable with a lock on it. When that thing tightens down, if you choose, you can put a relaxing lock on there, kind of like a dog choker chain, if you choose it. But right now, I can put any lock on there I want. And the smaller it gets, the smaller it stays. In my opinion, I want it to choke the coyote, because I use them for coyotes. I want it to choke him down, and I'd like for him to be dead when I get there. A dead coyote's not gonna get out of this. I get paid by the cattle rancher to stop that coyote from breathing. And they tell me, I don't care how you do it. I don't care, kill them all. And that, because they're killing their animals. So now it's on me, I gotta follow the law. The law says right now, I can use this. I can put it anywhere I want. I can put this in your neighborhood, if I wanted to. Per the laws for cables, I can hang them anywhere. I can come to your neighborhood and you got a neighborhood and I can spit on his house, he's that close. Now why would you do that? You're gonna catch his animals, pets. I don't, but it's legal. Same thing for this trap right here, this cage trap. It's legal to set that anywhere, anytime I want to set it. So, there we go with that. Cable restraint, we can get on that right quick. It's just like a snare, except it's got a lock that goes both ways real easy. If he's pulling on it, it's tightening. If he relaxes, like a choker chain on your dog, it'll relax with you. You will lose a coyote in that. I have. I don't use these no more. I like the ones that lock and hold you. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but I'll tell you why I don't like their new rules. Right here is what they call a breakaway device. This one is 285 pounds. It takes 285 pounds for that to break. My God, that'll hold anything. Nah. Hog will break that. Deer break that. A mountain lion will break that. Or what do they call them? Panthers. Bears will break it. And that's why they're putting that into our new rules, and we'll get on that in just a minute. But a coyote, I've read somewhere, and I wish I remembered my source, but this was back when I was in the learning stage, their initial lunge, coyote gets in this, it grabs him and he runs. When that pulls tight, you're looking at 700, up to 700 PSI on a coyote pulling this. The cable restraint also has, on most of them, has a locking device so you can't open it. Whatever they decide, 10 inches, 12, 15, 100 inches, whatever, this won't open but so far. That restricts the size of animal and get his head in there. It also has one down here to restrict that circle to about 4 inches. Most times when a deer gets in a snare, it's on his foot. I've tried to picture that. What, does he walk up to the fence and stick his foot? I don't know how he gets his foot in there. But that allows him to get his foot out. That's an escape device. So you got a stop to keep you from making it too big and a stop to keep you from making it too small. And that's how we set right now. You can use either one of those. Corral traps, there's not really restrictions on it for hogs. I don't know if there's a restriction on it with having a jump bar, what's called a jump bar. Say the corral is this big around. Coyote, if it's got a corner in it, he'll walk right up that corner and climb right out of that thing. I've got it on video that I'll share with anybody that wants to see it. They'll jump over 4 or 5 foot fence. I don't believe it. Well, I'm sorry.
He will.
My concern ain't whether you believe it or not. My concern is, will you help me fight to keep it? What they're suggesting, and I agree with, is up to a 12-inch, okay, you got your corral trap like this, you have a bar that sticks out with a bar that goes all the way across the inside of the trap. It can be up to 12 inches wide, so when they crawl, they hit it and it knocks them back down. That's not a bad thing. That's not gonna affect me one way or the other. With that being said, that's what I found on FWC rules on their website. Now, you also got the hunting regulations, and in the hunting regulations, it gets just a little bit deeper. It says that bobcats and otters can only be trapped between statewide December 1st through March 1st. And there's no bag limits on them. You can catch as many as you want to catch. Bobcats and otters, if you want to take them out of the state or you want to sell them or whatever, it's got to have those sighting tags on it. And that's just a little deeper. We can talk about that anytime you guys want to. And it goes on to say that if you're fur bearer trapping, you must buy a trapping license. I can't find it now, but it used to say if you're nuisance trapping, you're not required to have a license to nuisance trap. Now, if you want a nuisance trap and you want to advertise, I'd buy a license. They're $26.50. I'm a licensed, insured trapper. That'll get you some business. It's a fishing license. It's a hunt license. Oh, it's a trapping license. That's all it is. It's a piece of paper that big. Costs $26. They'll give it to anybody for $26. So,
Including out of state.
what's that?
Including out of state.
Yep. Yes. I got a job from Rayonier, big land company. Oh, I got a call to trap in Georgia. It's $200 and some odd dollars for the license and $5,000 for a bond that they hold on to. At the end of the year, they'll give it back if you don't owe them any money. I can't do that. So I get the contract from Rayonier. I contract a Georgia trapper that I'm a member of the Georgia Trappers. I call one of them guys. I give him about 2/3 of the money and I keep about 1/3 of it. So it's my name on the contract. So, real quick, in Florida, right now, make sure you're trapping at the right time of the year for whatever you're trapping for. You can use a cage and a snare anywhere you want to put it, anywhere. You can get a free steel trap permit. They're not awful hard to get. I've had one turned down. And then turned around and got the one for the same property renewed. I had to make special, I was in a rural area where I live, and he said, I don't want pets in there. I don't want the chickens in there. A fox was getting this man's chickens. So what I agreed to do was, and this is a good thing about FWC, call them, hey, I really need to do this. How can I do it? Here's what we came up with. I went to the man's house every morning before my work, when I worked with forestry. The sun ain't up, the chicken's still on the roost. And I put trash can lids over all my steel traps. And then after the sun went down and the chicken went back on the roost, boom, I went out there and I was allowed to take the trap home. And I caught the fox, enough said. Sometimes you're probably gonna have an issue where FWC just can't let you do it, but that's their call. All right, that's basically it. Real simple right now. You can just about trap unhindered. Is that a word? Unhindered, whatever. They're not gonna bother you. Now, I say they, and I'm referring to FWC because they are making the rules, but they are getting pressure from everybody, okay? Here's what they came up with. What I'm gonna show you today, I don't went through all this stuff. I don't know how to use these things. I'm sorry, guys. You know what? I don't even need this.
You want me to push the button for you?
Yeah, no. This is our tag group. Tag is it's usually technical advisory group. They get a bunch of experts on the subject matter. They bring them in and they say, "What do y'all think?" We're a technical assistance group. We've got anti-trappers. We've got trappers. We've got landowners. We've got cattle people. Every people from University of Florida. Excuse me. You know, they even let the gators in there. So anyway, every name brand person you can imagine sitting around the table, and FWC is leading the discussion. Today we're going to talk about blah blah blah, and man, the hands start going, and they don't care what your opinion is. They're gathering information from everybody, and I believe, and I may be a little off on this one, the people that are gathering this information are not on the decision-making process. Now, if you say something totally stupid, totally left-ish, whatever. That's not gonna find its way in there. But they're taking all this information, and on our last meeting, I think we had 7 or 8 face-to-face meetings where the tag group got together. And at the last meeting, they gave us this, it's like a PowerPoint slide presentation, and I've emailed it to a bunch of you. Whoever asked for it, I emailed it to you. At that time, that was the latest and greatest information that was out there. I know of 2 changes they've made since then, and I'll talk about it when I get here. So I'm gonna fly through these. Something you gotta do now, if these rules pass, something you're gonna have to do that we've never had to do is register. Everybody will register. They wanna know, to me, it's just government control, just another thing they wanna put their hand on. That's what I see. Now, I'm not politically correct, and I'm about as redneck as they come. I want it plain and I want it simple. Just tell me what I can and can't do. Now I gotta register. I don't understand why. Every year you gotta register. The only thing that I can see good out of this registration is, later in the book, you're gonna hear the reporting stuff you gotta do for reporting, which I mostly disagree with. If you don't report your catch from the previous year, you don't get to register for the next year. Your trapping days are legally over, okay? Right now, when I get a steel trap permit, I got the last page is how many did you catch, what did you catch, and what county were you in? And I understand that. That's cool, that's no problem. And if I don't do that, I don't get another steel trap permit. So I'm real good about doing that. Okay. You'll have to register. I think there's an exception in here that none of us are gonna fit in. If you're a landowner, and I'm not talking about 1,000 acres, I'm talking about you own a 1/4 acre with a house on it, and I own it and I'm renting it to Sarge. Me and our Sarge can trap with 1 cage trap, and I don't have to register. There's a lot of things in here that scenario will have an exception to. I don't mean this ugly, but your average homeowner wouldn't know which end of the trap to put the bait in. I mean, he's not a trapper. He is just not there are people that trap and there are trappers. The trappers understand the animal, they do the research, and they know different ways to set a trap so they won't catch the neighbor's cat instead of the raccoon. So different things of that. So there are people that set traps, and then there are trappers, and then there's the homeowner that says, that daggum raccoon, man, I gotta get rid of him. So he's out there trying. God bless him, he's trying. Out in left field, guys, y'all gotta reel me in. Okay, training. This is something that I just wanna slap somebody over. When all these new rules are put in place, FWC is gonna make a course online. I don't know what it's gonna be called, but it's about the rules. Here's the new stuff, guys. You gotta take this class. If you're born June 1st, I think it is, 1975, or before that, you still gotta take that course. But you will be exempt from all the other courses. The rest of the training that someone younger than me might have to take, if you're gonna set a cage trap, they're gonna have a cage trap safety course you gotta take. If you're gonna set a snare, well, there's very, very rare occasions you'll be setting a snare. You wanna set a cable device, you gotta take the safety course on cable device. Safety course, safety course, safety course. You know how many safety courses Mark Neely's gotta take? I use them all. I don't care. I don't care. If there's a new trap on the market, right here. Somebody in this room had to tell me about, where the heck over here? Rob, Mr. Priest, you remember telling me about that? That's called a kill squeak. Squeaks like a mouse for about 10 seconds and it stops. And a little bit later, I don't know, 15 seconds later, it squeaks again for 10 seconds. This is gonna be legal. I think it's still legal now. You put that in the back of a bobcat trap and that little rat's in there, boy, this thing works. Thank you. I will buy any gimmick on the market and test it myself and throw it away or keep it. My trapping shed is unreal with all kind of BS. Anyway, thank you, Robert. Mark's got to take a lot of training courses. Now, the only good thing about the training courses, other than you might learn something, is you got to do it once. You got to get that, print that certificate, keep it with you. The Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies puts out a safety course. It's like 8 or 9 hours long, but it's worth it. It is a good course to take. That's what they were looking at first for you to do. But somebody came up with a brilliant idea, let's make them take a safety course on every daggum trap out there. I'll understand that. I don't, but anyway, it's coming, guys. With the exception of the guy setting one cage trap in his own yard. Trapping activity reports. I'm a little vague on this. It talks about daily logs. You're gonna be required to keep daily logs on your trapping. I don't know that you have to turn the daily logs in. At the end of the year, you gotta turn in an annual report. You don't get your registration next year, you don't get the trap next year if you don't do this. They're looking at coming up with an app. I don't know if you can see this, you don't really need to see it, it's one line, if you can see that. It comes up on your phone, I can do it, so I know you can do it. I'm not saying you want to, I'm just saying you can. So I go out on my trap line today, I'm chasing coyotes, and I'm gonna use you a lot, Sarge. I'm chasing coyotes for Sarge on his property. I catch one coyote today, one raccoon, and one opossum, and a skunk. I gotta make 4 lines of data. Today's date, skunks, caught 3, or 1, whatever. What'd you do with it? Did you shoot him or release it? What county? They wanna know location, down to counties. They don't need to know Sarge's yard. Boom, 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 done. I can do this driving my side-by-side going down the road, coming back home, okay? Next line, coyote, what'd you do with it? Did you shoot him? What'd you do with him? Skunk, yeah, all the way across. Possum. So for every species of animal you caught, you gotta have a clue. Now, I'm not sure if that when you hit enter, not sure if FWC gets that or not, I don't know. But it goes into a data bank. Now, at the end of the year, again, I don't computerize, I don't do that. I chase animals and I run over shit with a bulldozer, excuse my language. That's what I've been trained to do, and I'm pretty good at both. At the end of the year, I gotta send in my annual report. How many cows did I catch? What ranch did I have them on? One ranch I had 150 sets out, and another ranch I had 12, and this ranch I got 25. What? That's why I cut my hair so short, so I can't grab it and pull it out. I really can't. So, there's going to be a trapping activity log instituted. And you're gonna be required to fill it out, and you're gonna be required to do that annually before you can get your license and your registration for the next year. My fear is it's gonna go in somebody's drawer and they're not even gonna look at it. Now that's what I know about people. I don't know if it's any good, if that's the truth or not. My fear is that we're gonna be doing all that, people like me, I can't even turn that thing on, that computer. And I gotta fill out a what? So the hardest thing I ever do on that is request a steel trap permit. And thank God for that wonderful lady in the office. It's, it's me again, you know, please help. Glue traps. I don't know if you use glue traps. Cannot be used outdoors, these rules pass. They don't want a rat, if I remember what they said, they don't want a rat to get in it, and then a raptor come down and try to get the rat, and he gets stuck, and now we've killed a hawk. I understand that. What we're hollering and screaming about is, can I take that glue trap and put it in such a manner that it's not seen from above? The rats can still get in it, and in the case down south, the iguana babies, there's a guy I talked to down there that catch 15, 20 iguana newbies, little guys, on one glue trap. And when they hatch, there's just thousands of them, and they put them, somehow they put them on top of the roofs of the houses. I don't understand, y'all do that, you and Kenny do that, I don't do that. But you ain't gonna put the glue trap, as it sits right now, you ain't gonna put the glue trap. Now, they've had these rules, FWC, and they've been mulling over them, they've been going over them, and they've been typing them up, and they're getting ready, November 5th and 6th, when it's presented to the commissioners, we're gonna have our say. It may be the last time I get in front of them in public. I mean, it may be my last time, I may get in front of them in public, but it ain't gonna be legal. Okay? No, I won't do that. All right, this trap, basically designed for raccoons. This is an awesome raccoon trap. It can't be any bigger than 1 3/4 inches. That's manufactured, you're not gonna change that, and 99.9% of them are that. It's gonna be pull only. If these rules go in and approved the way they sit right now, pull only trigger. Your Z traps, your push pull triggers, you won't be allowed to use them legally. Okay? What does that matter? I've caught cats I've caught possums in these pool traps. I'm assuming he's digging with his whole paw. The way this works is it's got a trigger in it like that. And if that raccoon eats down, he can do this with his hands like me and you. He's trying to get the rest of that food because they're greedy. When he grabs that trigger and pulls up on it, it grabs him right there, and now he's wearing this. His hand's in there and he's wearing it. This is tied off to a tree or a stake or whatever. He ain't going nowhere. They don't get out of this once they get in it. But I let the cat go. I let the possums go. They just walk off. Now, does his foot hurt? I'd say so. But did it break it? Did it take his foot, the use of his foot away from him? No. This trap, pull only, 1.75 inch diameter. Foothold traps. I don't know how many of you use these. There's a gentleman that goes to the commissioners meeting. I'm gonna squat down and set this right quick. There's a gentleman, he's an he wears a suit, and he goes before the commissioners and he talks about these barbaric bone crushing traps. And he's talking to the commissioners. I don't think he's got a trap, but he's, I dare anybody in this room to put their hand in there.
Really?
Well, I asked my director friend, what's the chance of me signing up to give my talk right behind him? I don't know, why? Because I'm gonna do that. Oh, it broke my bones! I said, I'll sit there for the next 3 minutes with this on my hand doing this, showing everybody. It's not putting on circulation. It didn't break nothing. Now, is this comfortable? No. Not to me. But if anybody in here traps coyotes, how many of you walked up on it sound asleep? Mm-hmm. I've had a coyote with 3 of these on 3 of his feet, sound asleep when I pulled up. Didn't like the fact that I was looking at him. 5 3/4 inches is the biggest one of these they're proposing right now. Well, that's good enough for coyotes, I think, in my opinion. Bobcats and pretty much anything else, but it ain't big enough for beaver. Well, you're just gonna have to shoot for the front foot. No. If I want to be species specific, if you target that front foot, let's say this right here is the edge of the water, you're going to have to put that trap right there at the bank, because when that beaver swims up and he's got his hands like this or full of mud, he's going to swim up till he bumps the bank and his back feet's going down and his front feet's going down. Now, if it's full of mud, he's going to stand up on his back feet and he's going to walk up the bank like this with arms full of mud. There's no way you're going to catch him by the front foot. If he swims up to the thing and you catch him on the front foot, if you know anything about beaver, there ain't a whole lot for it to grab. It's only about that long. And if you get it in there, they're strong. You just liable to pull it out. I mean, you could probably hold him. I've caught him by the front foot. I want it 10 or 12 inches back and 10 or 12 inches deep. Because when that otter comes swimming down through there and he goes in to investigate your bait, which they will, he's going to come up and the first thing he's going to do when he gets to the bank, the front feet's going to hit about right there. And he's starting up that bank. He's already pulling up the bank, and his rear end is still coming in high on top of the water pretty much. The back feet's gonna hit about right here, right about where that trap is. I'm gonna catch the otter by the back foot or the front foot. So to make it, the 2 reasons I want his back foot, he ain't gonna get his back foot out of that if he gets in it. And I'm not gonna catch an otter by the back foot. I'm just not. I catch a beaver. So, this being 5 3/4, I've said my piece, I've screamed, I've yelled, and I've hollered at a lot of people at these meetings at a low voice, because I'm a Republican. I don't get mad. Unless I'm standing in front of people trying to take my crap. Okay, I've asked for an exception. Make your 5.75, make an exception for beaver, please. I don't know how they're taking it. I don't know how the new rules are gonna be written up. I wanted the new rules to be written up. They said they would give them to us, but they're not finalized yet. And by finalized, I don't mean voted on, I mean the write-up. I wanted to be able to stand in front of you today with the most up-to-date. But right now, 5.75, that's all you're gonna get out of that for every animal out there. I gotta pick up the pace, gentlemen, ladies.
Anything above 550 is gonna be too big.
Pretty much. And if you want a picture of, I went to every website, MB, Victor, Duke. I went to all their websites, wrote down all their traps and wrote down all their sizes. If you want that, just come see me afterwards or just get in my book. It'll be right over there. There it is right there. That tells you all the sizes. I'm gonna have to immediately, let's say it's past 2 days, I own about 125 to 140-ish foothold traps. Probably 50 to 60 of them are gone. Immediate financial burden on Mark Neely to sell those traps. Who do I sell them to? Can't sell them in Florida? It'd be illegal for you to use them. So, here's another redneck mistake. I closed my book. Okay. So that's an immediate burden. If they wanna make it 5.75, God bless them, do it. Give me an exception for beaver. Now, how many trappers out there use Victor 3s, 4s? I know the 4s are too big. The 3s may be too big. MB 650s. That is a beautiful coyote trap. You can just about throw it in the ground and it sets solid. That's not one you really want to put your hand in, but it still ain't gonna break it. Especially a 4. That's a little bit too big. My Duke number 4s that I started with, I'm still using them. Too big. Now there is a way, if your trap is 5 or maybe right at 6 inches. If you know what I'm talking about, you laminate the inside of the leg, now they're 5 3/4. The inside of the jaws, you laminate them. We can talk about that later. Okay. This trap right here, according to the new rules, is not gonna change that much. This trap. It's not gonna change that much. The only rule change that I know of that's gonna change is they were saying initially that you had to put the triggers on the top. We put up a pretty good argument that is, if you want me to use the whole animal, you don't want me to just throw him over there in the ditch somewhere, I need to sell that fur. And that trigger is just gonna rub a big old spot on the back of his neck, that fur is gonna go down in value. So we're allowed now to turn it upside down and put the triggers on the bottom. And I like the bottom, I just do. And that has to be set submerged, if these rules pass, it has to be set submerged at the time of setting. So now I come back and I break my dam and 2 inches of that sticking out of the water in the morning, hey, I broke the dam. It was submerged. Snares are gone if these rules change. I don't understand that. That is something I don't understand. Yes, sir.
What power snares?
Now, we're coming to that.
Okay.
Give me just a minute. Snares, in general, the cable and the lock is gone. It will be no more. They're saying you have to use cable restraints. The definition of a cable restraint talks about a relaxing lock, talks about a breakaway device, and it talks about these stops. Well, I'm not a coyote hater. I don't hate coyotes. But if you, and I'll show you pictures when this is over if you want to see them. I take pictures of every animal that I know a coyote killed it. And if you see the destruction that they can do, I've got a picture of a calf where the coyote bit him in the back and broke his back, killed him. And then they ate him. He's got a big old U shape out of his back where the 2 of them sit there and ate on him. If you see the destruction, I want to, Sarge, again, he's paying me my fee, whatever that is, whatever we agree on, a daily fee to kill as many coyotes. I would rather him be dead. And if you think about it, anybody that knows about snares and how strangulation works, he's gonna fight it. And it's gonna pull tight, and once it cuts off his circulation, in less than a minute, he's done. He's done. Is it a painful death? I don't know, I ain't never been strangled by a cable. But is it quick? It's pretty daggone quick. So, to humanely dispatch that animal in less than a minute, I call that pretty doggone quick. Now, and something else for any bleeding heart liberals that's in the room, and I apologize for calling you that, but I'm sorry. If you think an animal's mind has a conscience, like mine and yours, and can deduce things. Now, he knows if he walks by and his friend's stuck in a trap, he don't know why he can't move, but he knows his friend's pegged to the ground somehow, and he smells, and I don't know, maybe his friend tells him. I don't know how coyotes talk. But they can figure out, and every time I smell that, I'm not going over there, because that smell associates with being trapped to the ground, stuck to the ground. They're that smart. But being able to figure out and reason through things, I don't think an animal can do that. That's just Mark with my Georgia education, okay? But to assume that they can, I'm not sure where you got your education. So, right back to the snares, they're gone. Cable restraints are gonna be called for, you're gonna use cable restraints. Make sure I didn't skip the question. snares that are thrown with a power snare, there's two things that throws a snare onto an animal that I know of. It's a power snare. When they step on it, it throws a snare up on the arm. You will be, according to what I read, still allowed to use snares with that, providing you get a special permit to use that. The collar, snare trap, I don't understand it fully, but the county walks up, grabs a device that's got the bait on it at all. Here. I'm sorry, I don't use it. I don't even know. I'm not gonna sit up here and act stupid.
No, that's a power snare,
Okay,
but that's,
I don't use them.
okay, well,
Thank
I'm just
you.
wondering if it affects
If
that.
anybody has any question about power snares, Harry. A power snare, I say by definition, is designed for the animal to put his foot in or on, and it throws the snare up onto the animal and gets him. You can still do that with a snare, providing you get a permit for it. So for the people such as Trapper Jay, who traps in a municipality somewhere, and he don't wanna set the snare up on a fence or something, but he still needs to catch his hogs, he's caught several with that power snare, haven't you? Yeah, and it's basically what, if I understand what you mean, it's something like a foothold trap that's got something that holds the snare. You put the snare around it when the coyote or well, maybe a bear, I don't know why he would do it, but whatever steps on it, it's gonna throw it up on it and grab his arm, and he's gonna be held in place. If Jay or me or anybody using one walks up and there's a kitty cat in there, just let him go. Oh, you lost a little hair with a cable rubbed it. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm sorry, but let him go. I've got videos of my wife releasing a Corsican ram on a game ranch out of one of these. And the only reason it held him is their feet move like that. They got a little groove right there, right behind their ankle. If he catches it anywhere else, he'll just pull it right out like a deer. But it caught him right there. And it's a mid-sized Corsican ram, and I took his foot out of there, and she held him down, and I got the video camera, go. And you watch the ram as he runs off. He ain't limping, nothing.
No, cool.
Okay. So your column traps and your power snares, you still will be able to use, but you have to get a permit to use those. Okay, collar them is when the animal comes up to it and he's biting something on the trap. Again, I don't use them, I've never really been introduced to them, but as they pull that trigger, it throws the noose up over their head. So it places it on their head. Permit, you're good to go. Cage traps. We fought and we fought and we fought. And I fought with FWC because I wanted my cage traps. And we're starting to put restrictions on them. The big, I refer to them as Tractor Supply hog traps. They're about 6 foot long. They're about that high. They're about that wide. They got 3 doors that go down at an angle. They're excellent. They're excellent anywhere you use them. I think the most I've ever caught was 4 hogs, and they were about 50 pounds a piece, maybe 40 pounds a piece. But you get them going in there, you tie that door up, and you get them going in there every day, they'll fight to get in that trap. It's a great way. Well, they wanted us to put a 24 by 24 inch hole in the top of it so a non-targeted animal can get out. There's no use even said the hog will jump right out of there. Yeah. So we're getting disheartened. We're losing the battle. I'm thinking so much for trapping hogs in neighborhoods anymore. I'm not gonna do it. FWC this is rumor, but this is what I hear. FWC had a meeting with Farm Bureau, and I guess Farm Bureau told them how destructive hogs are, and they said, this is ridiculous. So now the latest and greatest change via our last Zoom meeting was you can use any cage trap or any hog you want, any size. So they're giving us that one back. All right? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
That was May 25th when they updated that, or when I was informed of that. Okay. They were initially talking about door restriction sizes, but from the best I could, and I made a couple phone calls, there's not gonna be any door restrictions on it at this time. We talked about the corral trap. Bait, lures, and attractants. If you care to know what FWC's definition of those are, please come up and talk to me later. This is gonna come into play in just a minute. Okay. I don't know how many people out there use live bait for trapping. I use them in my bobcat trap. I've used roosters, I've used hens, I've used quail, I've used rabbits, anything alive. That trap has a room. Think of this trap 60 inches long with a 12-inch room in the back. it's got a place for feed, it's got a place for water. That animal is probably taken care of better than some pets. Now, does he flip out when that bobcat comes in? You bet your bottom dollar he does. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes for him to chill out. Yes, sir.
Little lady wants to protect the rooster, I would tell her, well, I'll just take my rooster and cut him into 4 pieces and I'll have 4 baits for 4 traps.
That's right.
You see what she says then?
That's right. And that's legal. Now, that is my style. Okay, you wanna talk about it? But I can't do that. I can't make enemies right now. Once these laws are made and locked in place and I'm forced to live by them, I'll tell you whatever's on my mind. You don't wanna hire me, that's your choice, and I'm okay with that. I'm learning. I'm 63 and I'm still learning. This right here gets you in trouble. Yes, sir.
One more question, back to snares. Are they sticking with illegal to sell near an entanglement?
Yes, sir. We're fixing to get there.
Okay.
We're fixing to be there. And I'm gonna tell you how all this. They got specific rules. They're right about specific traps. And then they back up. General rule, general rule, general rule. Those are the ones that's gonna kill us the most. And I'm gonna share with that. I'm gonna share with you. So, I am fighting if that animal is protected. See, right now as it stands, I email the captain, law enforcement guy, his name is Julie, I forgot his first name. I emailed him about a year ago and I said, can I use a live bait rooster in my cage trap for bobcats? And he emailed me, he fired right back. He said, I don't think you're allowed to do that. How are you gonna use him in a trap? So I sent him a video of my bobcat trap. He said, let me get with my counterpart, I'm assuming other district law enforcement captain, and let me talk. About a month later, I got an email back from him. He said, it is not illegal to use a live bait in your traps. But it ain't legal either. In other words, that issue is not addressed. He said, but know this, you put that rooster out there and you stake him out to a concrete block and that bobcat comes in and rips him up, that's animal cruelty, you'll get a ticket for that. He said, so as long as you're not breaking the animal cruelty laws, you should be good to go. Now, with that being said, right now, they're fixing to say no live bait, period, none. The major question that was asked is, the way it was described to me and another gentleman was, I don't care if that chicken is in a pen, separate from the animal. You can't use it, it is illegal. First question the other guy asked was, so when I get invited to come to Sarge's house and he's got chickens in a chicken coop where the chicken is separated from the target animal, and I set my trap beside that, he's not in my trap, but I'm definitely using him to attract him as a lure, because he's been coming in every night killing him anyway. Is that gonna be illegal? And he says, no, that's stupid as hell. Excuse me, I'm sorry, that's stupid. Well, let's see, let's read your definitions. And he brings up that, and the guy went, well, gone. So they're massaging these, and they're making them good, and they're trying to please us, and they're trying to please the antis, and they're trying to please the property owners, and they're trying to please the University of Florida guy, and you know, all these people. You cannot, you will not. Get 4 kids together and order a pizza. Try that.
That's right.
Which pizza do you order? That's what they're going through. And God bless it ain't me in there. I'm glad it ain't me. So right now, from what I understand, live baits are gone. I even tried this, hey, I'm not using it as bait. Bait is defined as something that the target animal can get to and eat. Okay? I'm using it as a lure to get him to the trap. He can't get got. They can't get him. He's protected. Not FWC, I'm sorry. The women that know more than we know. It's hurt. Oh, he's so stressed. It's a chicken. Trap check times. They ain't changed very much. You have to check your traps within every 24 hours. And there's a caveat in here. If you have an animal in a trap, you have to release him, dispatch, whatever you're gonna do with that animal, you gotta do it within the next 12 hours. You know me, I gotta question it. So I can wait 23 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Oh, got a coyote. So I check my trap within 24 hours. Leave him there. I got 12 more hours before I gotta deal with him. But that's how it's written. And that's a good thing for us. I trap on a 18,000 acre ranch. You can't drive an 18,000 acre ranch and check they wanted us to check everything before noon, or before 11, I think it was. 11. You're not gonna check 150 traps, I don't care if they're side by side hardly, in 2 hours. Cause I don't check my coyote traps before 9 in the morning. The coyotes are still moving at sunup, they're still moving. Anyway, check them every 24 hours, do something with the animal within 12 more hours. Disposition of animals. You pull up on a coyote, you gotta dispatch it, or that's what you're being paid to do. How do you dispatch it? You just pick up a stick and beat him to death? I've done it. Until I was educated. You have to follow the American veterinarian something rules of dispatching an animal. And if you pick up them rules from the AVFM, whatever it is, American Veterinarian Federal, whatever it is, and read it. 85%, 90% of everything in there talks about how to kill cows if you're gonna process them, how to kill hogs, processing deaths of animals. And then the last page says, blunt force trauma via 22 bullet. I don't know how they wrote it. I don't know the words. So basically, shooting. Another method, they have a bolt gun that you put a blank in. And when you fire it, a bolt comes out about that far. Boom, like that. You walk right up, you put it on his head, squeeze the trigger, the blank fires the bolt goes out, punctures his brain and back in. With your insurance, if you buy insurance, a lot of them require you not to discharge a firearm. Some of them even say not even an air rifle. Bolt guns in my future. That's gotta be more dramatic. Well, get up to a pissed off coyote, cause he's gonna get pissed off when you walk up. Walk up to him and say, be still now, be still. This will only take a second. You gotta get him. You gotta get him and hold him down and punch him. And it's just so much faster. I pull up, if I take a picture, bam. And while he's taking 10 seconds, he's dead instantly. Especially if you shoot him in the head, he's dead instantly. He don't quiver like me and you would. If you shot me in the head, I'm sure I'd dance a jig. But there is rules that you have to follow. You can't just go out there and blunt check him with a stick, you know. You can't take your boat paddle. I ain't got nothing today but a boat paddle. You can't, no. I'm not, well, we'll just go on. Entanglement. And I'll say this basically because almost exact same rules applies for a snare as it does a foothold or a dog proof. You cannot set your trap in any manner that animal may become entangled in any woody vegetation over a ½ inch. Well, if you've ever set snares in a beaver swamp in Florida, you'll know that's impossible. There's not a Florida swamp area where you can set this, it locked down on a beaver's head, its neck, and he ain't gonna get that entangled. So I'm not sure where that came up with. Same thing with the foothold. You cannot entangle. You cannot set your trap in a manner that the animal could get in the water and drown. 90, 70, 80, I'll say safely. 80% of my beaver traps are set with the thought in mind that he's gonna go down the cable and drown. And that's right out of the BMPs. That's if you use one of these for beaver, per the BMPs, you will set that in a submersion set, which is a fancy word for drowning set. If these pass, can't use these no more. Not for beaver. Not even a 1 under 5 3/4 inches. If you're following BMP recommendations. Okay? So entanglement, at first, you cannot hang your cable restraints on any fence other than one that surround a FWC licensed game preserve or farm where they're raising the animals, one of them two places. An accredited captive wildlife facility, a zoo, or at an airport. That's your only 4 choices. Yes, ma'am?
Can you use snares on a private property for like, if you have a depredation permit?
Right now, yeah.
Okay.
If these rules change, no.
Even with the depredation?
There's restrictions. When this was presented to us, you know me, raise my hand, I said, excuse me, 50% of the animals I catch on a ranch come off the fence. And I said, why can't I hang them on a cattle ranch fence? This was the answer, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm an analyst. 20 years in the Navy, I'm an analyst. This man's face just went, we don't want you to hang them on a, barbed wire fence. I said, who's putting a snare on a barbed wire fence? You're gonna catch a deer. Why would you do that? He said, well, that's what's around cattle ranches. They're required to have a 4-strand fence around the highway, you know, along their property line. Okay. I said, what about the pen? Remember how big it is, 25, 50, 100, 150? What about the pen they put the mama cows in? And I don't know what a mama cow's called. What about the pen they put the mama cows in to have all the babies? A pen that restricts the babies from getting out. That baby's gonna go right underneath that barbed wire fence. What about that one? It's wrapped up in a field fence. I swear to you, if I was taking a test, I think I'd get the answer right. That man didn't know what a field fence was.
You didn't know what to call it.
Nope.
He didn't know what it was, I don't think. And I said, sir, do you know what an 8-foot high fence is? He said, yes. Cut it in half. You got a field fence. Make it 4 foot tall. That's basically a field fence. It's got square holes in it. And you can see it. You could see them turning. The Florida Executive Vice President, Cattle Association Vice President, sitting right here. Well, we don't raise our hands, we take our name tags and turn them up sideways because a bunch of people ask a bunch of questions. He said, why are we not allowed to put that cable restraint or snare on a woven wire fence? I swear to you, now I'm probably wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. I don't think this man understood what a field fence was, what a woven wire fence was. So somewhere, he come and got me and Mr. Hanley, he pulled us aside after the meeting and said, what is this fence? What is blah, 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 blah? I mean, thank you. They've changed that now. At a Zoom meeting on April the 16th, the FWC guy came on there and he said, we made another update. You can hang your snare on any fence that is woven wire, providing the holes are not greater than 7 by 7. I've researched, I can't find a fence bigger than 7 inches. Now some of them are 5 by 7 and 4 by 7 or whatever, 4 by 6, but I can't find any. So if these rules pass, you should be good hanging a cable restraint on a woven wire fence. Just don't put it on barbed wire. All right, guys, we're almost done. I've been talking about all these already. And they go in, they have a couple of rules on deviations, which basically means, is there any time I can use this when the rule says it? Call it. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Mark, on that hanging, the stairs on the fence, what about the entanglement rule that they were talking about? They said you can't hang them where they can entangle on a fence. So are they contradicting themselves?
The way it's written is, they cannot become entangled on woody vegetation greater than ½ inch or a pole. That pole being that kill stick that I drive in there for the beaver. I put my snares out in the water. Beaver gets in it, I got a drown stick, what I call a drown stick, out here. And as they're swimming around trying to get away, they're gonna get entangled on that, and then they're gonna wrap around this, and it's gonna hold them underwater, and they're gonna drown.
No, they're gonna asphyxiate.
But,
Yeah, they're gonna, be quiet. That's an ace in the hole, be quiet. Please.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna give you my 58-second speech, and then I'm open for questions. I'll be here the rest of the weekend. After my introduction, which may or may not be part of my 60 seconds, I don't know. After my introduction, I'm gonna say, sir, ma'am, please think about beaver trapping only for the next 58 seconds. Your rules, if passed, are gonna tell me I can't drown an animal, and I can't entangle an animal. My cage traps are set underwater in a run. The beaver goes in it, he drowns. I'm not allowed to drown him, I can't use cage traps anymore. Foothold traps, per the recommendations from B&P, tell you to attach this to a cable, run him into deep water and drown him. Oh, those are out. So there's 2 traps right there. I only got 2 more choices. Cable restraints and conibears. I can't entangle him in a cable. So that greatly reduces my use of cable. Now I catch him out there in the water. Hopefully he don't drown. Maybe he'll swim around long enough for me to get back in the morning. I don't know. But it greatly reduces my snare capabilities with a beaver. This has got to be set all the way underwater at a setting. 50% of my conibear set, 80% of my conibear sets are right on the edge of the bank. I want that beaver to swim down. I want him to smell my caster. I want him to turn and crawl right through that trap. But in order to use that, I gotta make him dive down underwater. Right on the bank's edge, there's very few places to do that. I manipulate it. I go in there with a shovel and dig me a ditch. But I gotta change the environment to make it work. With a cable, I gotta cut down all them limbs. I gotta alter the environment, which, what happened over there? I'm not going over there. That's just gonna clue him in that something's going on. I'm digging a big old ditch there to make him dive down and get into my snare. So these are reduced. So how do you catch a beaver? You ain't gonna catch him in that. You ain't gonna catch him in that. 75% of the time you ain't gonna catch him in that. And God knows, if you're better than I am, maybe you can catch a few in that. I tell you, if these rules pass the way they are, and Rayonier Timber Company calls me and says, we got beaver problems, and so I'm very sorry. I'm not charging them the kind of money I charge and not be able to trap with all my tools. I trap for Rayonier, a big lumber company. I trap for 2 or 3 different counties. Their county is responsible for all the drainage ditches in their county. I trap a lot of beaver out of these drainage ditches. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. You know any commissioners at FWC, give them a call. I don't know what to tell you. So that's where the non-drowning, the non-entanglement and all, that's how all that came together in the beaver world and stopped me from beaver trapping. If all that happens, I'm not gonna be a beaver trapper no more. And you can just let your pine trees die and you can flood his yard because the drainage ditch is flooded over now. So I don't know what to tell these people. I don't. I'm gonna send every one of them to the director. Old Chris Wynn, he's just gonna get some phone calls. And I told him, I said, Chris is coming. By the way, I invited all of our directors, all the FWC directors, please come to our rendezvous, ask questions. You know, join us, have some food. And I got an email back from Greg Workman, he's the director in this area. He said, thank you for the invite. I'm sorry, I already have other plans. He's going hunting in North Florida. Chris Wynn wrote me, as a he's got other plans too. I'm sorry, thank you for the invite. As a biologist, I appreciate what y'all do. Please keep up the good work. As a wildlife manager, I appreciate what y'all are doing. Hang in there, keep fighting. So there are people in, I don't know, high places that say 5.75 inches, 5.75 inches. I got you. This is a medium-sized 29-pound beaver back foot. It's 6 1/4 inches across. If that's your trap and he steps on it and triggers it, it's just gonna throw his foot off. That's why I'm asking for, I like them big old 7.5, 8.5 inch traps. Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah, no, great job summarizing